Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a deleted user about a year ago in the AITAH subreddit. The post is titled, "I kicked my sister out for trying to break me up with my boyfriend because she likes him. I and my boyfriend have been dating for 6 years and are living together. My sister and I didn't have the best relationship when we were younger, mostly because our parents treated her like the golden child since they always wanted a girl, which already made me feel distant from them for that reason alone. As we got older, my sister did act more like a mature person, but she didn't fully grow out of her golden child behavior. My sister moved in 2 months ago because her boyfriend broke up with her and kicked her out. However, she refuses to tell me or anyone in our family the reason why they broke up, which was a little surprising since they seemed like a good couple. In the first 2 weeks, things went fine. She was decent, helped around, and didn't involve herself too much in my boyfriend's and my life. But she seemed to be trying to get closer to my boyfriend as time went by. She kept trying to hug him, touch his arms or back, ask him to help zip up her dress when she went out, and would often interrupt me when I was talking with him to put herself in the conversation. Of course, my boyfriend didn't like any of it, and whenever she did anything that made him uncomfortable, he'd tell me, and I've told her many times to stop and explained how she makes him uncomfortable. She would often say that she didn't mean to, that she just wanted a closer look at his tattoos on his arms and a bunch of other excuses. A week ago, my boyfriend came to me and told me how my sister said that I've been cheating on him. He showed me his phone with messages of a bunch of nonsense my sister texted him, claiming that I was in a club or something with another guy. He didn't really believe her since I'm very introverted and have never even gone to a club or bar my entire life, and he knows that, so me flirting with some other dude is just a very dumb lie to come up with. So I waited for her to come back, and when she did, I told her that we needed to talk. When I asked her why she would lie about me cheating, she immediately got defensive and started yelling at me. She said how I'm no good for my boyfriend, that I'm ruining her time here in my house, how she's going through a tough time with her own breakup, etc. My boyfriend did jump in and told her to shut up and not shout. My sister suddenly started crying her eyes out like a child and started throwing a tantrum saying it should be me. You're supposed to be with me, not that bitch. I am better than him, why can't you two just break up already? And a bunch of other hurtful things towards me. My boyfriend didn't even give her time to finish her tantrum before he yelled at her to grab her stuff and leave. She didn't listen to him and instead lay on the floor and continued yelling and crying. My boyfriend went towards where my sister's room was and packed her stuff in trash bags before throwing them all out while I was trying to get my sister off the floor. My sister shouted at him to stop and got up from the floor to go and try to get her stuff back inside. I got fed up with her and shoved her out while my boyfriend was throwing her stuff out. My sister did try to punch me while I shoved her, but it didn't hit me, and she kept shouting at me how I'm disgusting, ruining her life, and a bunch of derogatory terms on the way. She did finally leave us alone after my boyfriend said he'd call the cops if she said another word to me. Now my phone keeps blowing up with calls and messages from my family and my sister's friends saying I'm a terrible person and that I shouldn't have kicked her out because she's going through a breakup and didn't know what she was doing or whatever. My parents tried coming to my house today to try and talk to me to get my sister to live with me and my boyfriend again, but since my boyfriend already dislikes them, they got kicked out within a minute before they could even try to justify my sister's actions. I don't think I did anything bad, but the amount of backlash and angry messages I'm getting is messing me up, so I'm going to need some advice on how to continue from here because I'm starting to doubt my decision. So am I the asshole? Interesting Sock said, "You are not the asshole. Your sister completely disrespected you and your relationship in your own home to make it even worse. It's disgusting that your parents would try to justify her actions at all. From your description of your relationship with your family, I wonder how they would have handled the situation if roles were reversed." Stray's mom said, "NTA, why should your boyfriend put up with being sexually harassed in his own home? Have you pointed out your sister's behavior to the rest of the family, or are the rest of them just as crazy and think she should have your boyfriend, whether he wants her or not? Sadly, you might have to go no contact with your family if you want any peace, especially if they insist on foisting your sister off on you and your boyfriend. Why can't any of them take her in?" To this, OP said, "I have told my family and everyone who involved themselves in what my sister did. They all came up with the same excuse, that she went through a rough breakup and that she's not in a good mindset. As for my boyfriend, he made it very clear that he does not want her, as he's 100% gay and we've been together for a long time. and my sister is currently living with our parents, but my parents and the rest of the family don't really want her living with them for obvious reasons. She's annoying. The only reason I can't go fully no contact with my family is for my younger brother, who is 8 years old. I want to ensure he has a safe place to stay or someone to talk to in case my parents or sister do something stupid. Danavel said, anyone calling on you and your love to house your sister should volunteer to house her themselves. My suggestion and advice is this: send out a mass text to all who have said you have to house her. Dear friends and family, my sister is not my responsibility. All of you who think I and X should house her because she is family, she is your family too. Mom and Dad, you created this mess of a child and she is your responsibility, not mine. Please do not contact me about this subject again or you will be blocked and we will go no contact. Update. A lot has happened since I posted, so this will be quite long. In my previous post where I asked whether or not I was the asshole, I have some new updates to share with you all. It turns out that a few of you were right, and she gave most of the family a made-up story. She told the rest of the family and her friends that when she moved in, I was a complete jerk. She claimed that I made her do all the chores, cook every day, yelled at her all the time, and tried to make her feel insecure about herself, but she didn't because she's a girl boss and whatnot. She also said that my boyfriend was not happy in his relationship with me and basically made me look like some demon who came out of Satan's depths. I was able to set some of the more open-minded people straight with the help of my boyfriend, giving them the real story. Most of them didn't even apologize and just stopped bothering me. I was able to get in contact with one of my sister's friends to ask about the reason for her breakup. It turns out that the reason my sister and her ex broke up was because she was supposed to take care of her ex's dog, but instead sold the dog because she didn't want to take care of it while he was away. She wasn't even sad that they broke up. She was upset because she wasn't allowed to keep the house and all the stuff inside that wasn't even hers. I don't know why she even thought she'd be allowed to keep it after selling the guy's dog. The texts from my family did calm down from a few, but my parents and sister continue spamming me with trash talk. It got to a point that the day after I made the first post, I received a threatening letter from my sister. She said that I must break up with my boyfriend or else she'll destroy my reputation and everything I have. And she also decided to be petty and write that she'll stab me. Unfortunately for her, when the letter came in, I was out grocery shopping, but my boyfriend was home with his family, who was over for dinner. Angering a family of 2 parents who have 9 kids is not a pretty sight, as my boyfriend described it. My boyfriend's mother called my mother and started asking about the letter my sister sent. My mother denied it and said that my sister didn't do anything of that sort. My boyfriend's mother wanted to say more, but my mother hung up on her. After we cooked and had dinner, my boyfriend's father suggested that they'd stay over in case my parents or sister tried to disturb us again. My boyfriend and I agreed to this and we set up a few spare rooms for them since we do have a pretty big house. I did call the police for the threatening letter and they said they'd look into it. After that, we simply went to bed. The next day, we did hear loud banging on the front door with my sister screaming to be let in. One of my boyfriend's brothers opened the door and she, my mom and dad, walked right in and demanded that I talk to them alone. However, my boyfriend's parents cut them off and tried telling them that my sister is out of line and they needed to respect that they crossed many boundaries. Both my parents and my boyfriend's parents then got into a heated argument. And what did my sister do? She tried to get closer to my boyfriend while the argument was occurring. My boyfriend then started shouting at her, calling her a psychopath and saying she's annoying. My parents then started yelling at my boyfriend that it's no big deal and that's just how girls act around their crush. I did get fed up and told my parents and sister that they need to leave before I call the police. They refused and my mom seriously said, "You should be a good brother and make your sister happy. Let her go on one date with your boyfriend and we'll leave. How else will they know if they click or not? You're basically ruining your sister's love life by being so selfish." My boyfriend and his siblings immediately shut her up and tore into her for saying such things. My sister then started crying and tried to go to my boyfriend for a hug. One of my boyfriend's sisters slapped her and said how she should be ashamed of herself for trying to get to a gay taken man. My sister seemed to have lost it and tried to lunge at me while screaming how much she hates me. She shoved me onto the ground and grabbed a knife from her pocket and stabbed me. It was obvious that she tried to go for my throat, but instead hit my shoulder. My boyfriend yanked her off me, and he and his siblings started to gang up on her. My boyfriend's mother helped me up and treated the stab wound with whatever we had, as it was bleeding quite a lot and was pretty deep, and she's a nurse. My boyfriend's father called the police. My parents tried to take my sister and leave, but my boyfriend and his siblings kept them in place until the police arrived. Once the police got there, my parents and sister got arrested, and I got sent to the hospital because the bleeding wouldn't stop. I got a few stitches on my shoulder now, and it's a bit difficult to move with my left arm. When my sister got questioned by the police, her smart mouth kept shouting threats, and she said that she meant to slice my throat, not my shoulder. For some reason, she also kept crying out my boyfriend's name, as if he's going to defend her or help her. My sister got sent to jail, and my parents got a restraining order. But due to their actions, my little brother got taken out of their house and put into my care. 3 of my boyfriend's siblings are currently staying over because they think my parents might come back and try to take my little brother away or hurt me. For 2 days, it has been peaceful. Maybe some other family members will come by or my sister's friends will try something, but right now, I'm safe. My boyfriend, his sister, and my little brother are currently hanging out playing some video games. He's planning on taking my brother to the zoo since my little brother loves animals and has never been to one. I'll update if anything else happens. This second post was made in the same subreddit by a user named Adventurous Soup. The post is titled, "I want to set boundaries with my best friend who lives with me. I live with my best friend and one other roommate. For some context, my best friend and I have known each other for 11 years and have never had any issues. Almost 2 years ago, I moved to another city following my parents because I was struggling when they moved and wanted to be closer to family. I lived on my own for a year before she decided to move down as well to get out of her parents' house and to improve her mental health. Since around November to December of 2023, her mental health took a nosedive, and she ended up committing herself to the hospital twice and quitting her job. We agreed that her moving down here would be the best for her mental health and a good step for her future, and I was excited to not be paying for everything myself anymore. Fast forward to September of last year, she finally moved down and stayed the last month of my lease in my 1-bedroom basement suite until we moved into a 3-bedroom house with an acquaintance of mine I know through my dad. Everything was going fine for the first few months until she started not being able to pitch in for groceries anymore. She is currently jobless and getting her money through a program she is in that has been covering her portion of rent and utilities. At first, I was okay with her not pitching in because I understand the stress of going from being able to afford the things you want to barely getting by monthly. The past few months, she has been spending her money frivolously and saying she is super anxious about her money situation, which is making her want to harm herself and that she has a plan. The first time this came up, I talked her through it and explained that I know how she's feeling and that once she gets a job, it will be easier on her. Back in December, I helped her apply to a position that she got hired for. She worked a few shifts, then asked me to help her quit as she was overwhelmed. I understand getting overwhelmed after not working for almost a year and having never had a retail job before. It can be stressful. Since she quit, I have been pushing her to apply to other jobs and to even get her serving and selling at right licenses since they are super easy and super affordable to get, and that way she can work somewhere she might actually enjoy. She has been reading the material, but every time she sets a date to go take the test, she just stays home instead, playing her video game and not doing anything. I would like to add that since she quit her job, all she does all day every day is play the same online game. I cannot explain how frustrating it has been to come home and see that she is sitting on her bed playing the game and didn't leave the house or even get dressed. This frustrates me because I have explained to her multiple times that the reason her mental health hasn't improved is because she is in her room all day staring at a screen and not doing anything. She will agree with me, but she doesn't try to improve or change this behavior. I have told her multiple times that I understand what she is feeling because I feel the same things daily and also struggle with some of the same mental illnesses she does, but I have been dealing with them since I was in high school. I have gotten to the point where I don't even enjoy talking to her anymore because I am just so frustrated. I go to work 5 days a week, then come home and cook us all dinner just to get a little bit of time to myself to either watch a show or play a game, where I just want to be alone because I deal with people all day, and she doesn't seem to understand that I like to be alone after work. She will constantly come out of her room and just stare at me until I acknowledge her, which is uncomfortable. She also started dating this guy online and he is coming to visit next month, and I have expressed my concern to her about how uncomfortable I am with the situation, but always end with saying she is a grown adult and can make her own decisions. I'm dreading going home after work, so I have decided to go to my parents to talk with them about all this. I still have to go home after, but at least it gives me some more time away from her. She's my best friend and I love her, but I don't know how to set up boundaries, especially when I have told her I don't mind certain things, but am now feeling like she is just using me for my kindness and money. Sorry, I have been all over the place. This is my first post and my mind is all over the place with this situation. Euphoria Thickness said, "It sounds like you're her roommate, therapist, and ATM all in one. Maybe it's time to bring in some outside help, like a professional therapist or a budgeting app for her excessive spending. And hey, if all else fails, try switching the Wi-Fi off when she's in the middle of a game. That'll get her attention." To this, OP said, "I really feel like I am. She sees a therapist already, and I've told her to talk to her doctor about her medication. I have also thought about shutting off the Wi-Fi since it's under my name and I have full control over it. But I don't want to feel like I'm trying to be controlling. A big issue I have and why I haven't done anything yet is due to some stuff from my childhood. I have become a people pleaser and have a really hard time setting boundaries or putting my foot down." The View halfway down said, "NTA, you're never wrong for wanting boundaries with someone you live with." Update: I've been debating posting this here, but I want to know if I am overreacting or not, and I think this is the best place to ask. So I have had this best friend since middle school, and I have always been there for her whenever she needed someone. At the end of 2023, she started to really struggle with her mental health and having thoughts of suicide. Both I and her therapist recommended that she get admitted, which she did. After a few months, she was released and went back to her parents' house. All she would do all day was sit in her room and play Apex on her PlayStation, and once a day, she would go for a walk down to the takeout place close to her house to smoke weed. Her mental health started declining, and I begged her to admit herself again because I was scared she was going to do something. Thankfully, she did. I also want to add that during all this, I was living 6 hours away in another town since I had moved in April 20th, 23. So I wasn't physically there to help, but we talked every day. We also started making plans for her to move down here, and we would get a place together because her parents were a big part of her poor mental health, as she claimed. So at the end of August, she moves down here and stays with me for the last month of my lease before we move into a 3-bedroom house with another person I know. So we get all moved in and things are going well so far. Then she starts coming to me saying she has a plan and that she wants to harm herself. Every time this comes up, I talk her through it and make her feel better, all while this is taking a severe mental toll on me, as constantly hearing your best friend talk about killing herself hurts. All while we have been living together, she has not been working and gets her rent and bills covered through a program she's in with her band, but she still needs a job, yet is refusing to look, which frustrates me to no end. She is also constantly complaining about money, and I am paying 100% of the grocery bill for us and also paying for every time we eat out. She has also started dating this guy who lives in the States that she met through Apex. He was planning to come up here and spend a week with her. I explained that I am not comfortable with him coming over to the house, and she said she was okay with that. About 2.5 to 3 weeks ago, I was frustrated with her and went to my parents' house to get their input on some stuff that was happening, and they told me I should take a step back as I have been mothering her. At the time, I was in charge of her medication, so she would actually take them as per her request. I agreed with them because I was feeling pretty used at the time. So after I get back home, I take a step back and am not feeding into her constantly saying she is going to harm herself, since it is a manipulation tactic, as she knows I would always drop what I'm doing to talk her out of it. I would also like to add that she has never actually tried to harm herself, and that's how I know she isn't always serious about having a plan. And yes, I know people show their mental illness differently, and some would see that as a cry for help, which I usually did. However, after she constantly refused to try and get professional help, whether it was calling her doctor about her medication or calling the hotline, hence me not wanting to feed into it anymore. One day, I get back from work after a pretty tough day, and she keeps coming to me saying she wants to jump off a bridge, or she wants to throw herself out a window. Instead of how I would normally react, I was asking how she planned to do that, and she didn't know. I then suggested that if she really felt that way, she should call the hotline, as that's what it's there for. This was her response verbatim: "No, they are all losers, just professional losers." I asked if she was able to call her boyfriend and talk to him, since that usually made her feel better, and because I just couldn't handle the constant talk of her harming herself anymore. So she goes to her room and calls her boyfriend, and I'm sitting in the living room, which is right outside her door, and I can hear everything she says to him. She's talking about how she could just not be here tomorrow and that she could just harm herself, and that he's lucky she's scared of knives, so she won't cut. And I'm fuming because I couldn't stand hearing her talk about herself like that. So I'm messaging a friend who knows what's been going on between us, and I'm trying to calm myself down, but it's not working. I clean up dinner, then I head to my room and lock myself in because I don't want to freak out at what she's saying and potentially ruin our friendship. The next day, I go to work and come home. We exchange a few words and go back to my room and lock the door, which I end up falling asleep in because I was really drained. She then comes pounding on my door at 10 to midnight because I haven't given her medication yet. I hand them to her, then go back to bed because I work the next day. The next day, while I'm at work, about half an hour before we close, she shows up while I'm helping a customer with my coworker. When I'm done, I walk over and ask what brings her here, and she says it was to pick me up. I ask why, since I take the bus to and from work, and she goes off asking if I'm ungrateful for her picking me up. I say no, it just threw me off. So we go home. Friday rolls around and she wants me to come with her like always to get her shot that she gets at the beginning of every month. After all our running around for the day is done, we go home and I explain to her that I have been cramping. She's like, "Oh, so that's why you have been so distant?" And I was like, "No, there is a reason." I go over how much it upset me to hear her talk about harming herself like that and not wanting to freak out at her. She says she appreciated me not wanting to freak out and things somewhat went back to normal. Fast forward to the other day, her boyfriend has been in town for a few days and she has been staying with him every night but coming to the house every day. I have been feeding her cat for her, but I told her that since she's coming to the house every day, I won't be doing her litter box, and she was okay with that. So the other day, she messaged me while I was at work that we needed to have a chat when I got home. So I get home and we have a chat. She goes off about how it's not fair to her that she has to do everyone's dishes and she wants everyone to do their own. I was like, okay. She then goes off about how she wants cash up front when she gives me a ride. We have a joint account for that very reason, but apparently that isn't good enough. She also goes off about how I ignored her during her cry for help the other day and hid in my room for days, and I went off saying that it was because I couldn't handle hearing her talk about herself like that. All while we were having this chat, I was crying because I was so hurt, and she was just staring at me with a blank expression. She then asked her boyfriend of a month or two to talk to me, and he comes out and literally verbally attacks me, saying there is no excuse for how I handled that, and me being too exhausted to wash a casserole dish after I worked almost 9 hours dealing with people was no excuse. He just berated me, and apparently if she offers me a ride, I'm also supposed to pay for gas, even though I didn't ask. At this point, I'm pissed because I didn't appreciate getting verbally attacked by a stranger in my own house. They then leave and I go lock myself in my room and have a full-blown anxiety attack over the phone with my dad because I couldn't believe that just happened. A few minutes later, I get a banking notification saying the balance of our joint account dropped below $100. Now, there was $100 in there for her for gas money and $150 for me for a concert I'm going to next month. She knew I was putting my concert money in there, so I wouldn't touch it. She took everything. So now I'm having a full-blown panic attack and literally can't breathe. I then take all her medications and anything else of hers that is in my room and my bathroom and throw it on her bed. I then write a note to her explaining that what she did was completely unacceptable, and that because of her actions, as of now, we are just two people living under the same roof. I then mute her on Snapchat and Facebook, block her on Discord, and block her number as well as unfollow her on TikTok. But did I overreact? There are also things I have left out because there is just so much she has done that I can't put it all here. Am I just overreacting and being a terrible friend? Update 2. My landlord messaged only me yesterday saying she had some concerns about the cleanliness of our house and is going to be doing periodic inspections. She then messaged our group chat saying she has someone coming tomorrow to do a walkthrough and inspect the place. When I asked what time he was coming, I wanted to make sure it was after the 24-hour mark, as she has to give 24 hours notice by law. She said that my roommate advised her that she would be there. That solidifies that my roommate was the one who messaged her about the house. This whole situation has been causing me to have perpetual anxiety attacks, and I dread going home every day to the point that I have been staying at someone else's place when I can. My other roommate with whom I get along and I talked and are going to rent another place together since we get along well. I booked a viewing for an apartment and also submitted an application, so fingers crossed we get approved because I need out as soon as possible. I also wasn't home last night since I'm trying to avoid the house as much as possible. I got home from work and started cleaning my room for the inspection tomorrow when I began smelling cat urine in my closet and on my bedding. Now, I have been locking my door recently because I don't want her in my room. It is your typical interior door lock that can be easily unlocked from the other side. I have also been putting a small piece of paper wedged in the door so it falls when the door opens. My window was also cracked, which I know I didn't leave open while I was gone. She broke into my room and I'm guessing she locked her cat in so it would urinate on my stuff because she is really bad about not using her litter box. I am going to get a camera to hide in my room until I move out, but I am beyond frustrated. I would also like to thank everyone from the original post for telling me I wasn't overreacting, and yes, I know it was stupid to open an account with her and put my own money in it. Nalal said, "Your friend sounds insane. It sounds like she has been using and manipulating you. So glad that you are escaping this situation. Definitely get cameras. You might also explain things to your landlord and see if she is okay with you getting a better lock on your bedroom door so that you can protect your stuff until you are able to move out." To this, OP said, "My dad, who knows our landlord, explained everything to her and told her what's been going on. Now our landlord feels bad and understands why both I and my other roommate were confused." Beck 2010 said, "I've just read all 3 of your posts. This situation is escalating and you need to protect yourself. First, why do you have a shared bank account with this friend? You're risking not only your money but your security. Separate your money and put it into a different account at a different bank now. You work, she doesn't. Stop being her financial safety net. Second, get a better lock for your door. Let your landlord know what's been going on and why you need to do this. You also need to put a camera in your room to further protect yourself. Third, you're not a therapist. You're only 22 years old and not an emotional support animal. Anytime she threatens to harm herself, call emergency services. Fourth, you need to not live with this person. When is your tenancy up? When can you move and separate yourself from this person? Lean on your parents. Ask them for help and guidance in protecting yourself and removing yourself from this unhealthy and escalating situation. You've hopefully learned that this friend is not actually a friend. Don't get sucked back into her orbit once you're out. As soon as you've moved, as soon as you financially separated from her, block her. She's not a friend." To this, OP said, "The bank account was just a savings account for us to put money in for trips, for me to send gas money, and for her to transfer her portion of rent and bills to me so I could get everything paid. I still have to go and close the account, but I plan on doing that tomorrow, hopefully. I am working on getting a camera to put in my room and possibly getting the lock changed. Thankfully, my dad knows our landlord and got in touch with her regarding everything. He explained the situation, and the landlord now feels bad about the whole situation as she was only hearing one side. Thank you for your comment and your suggestions." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.